All right, we'll get started here. My name is Bob Neubaum. I just want to welcome everyone to the June 9th Tridium Talk. Today, we're going to cover the relaunch of the Niagara Marketplace and talk about what's different with the marketplace and what you can expect to see in the coming year and how you can get involved. We're going to start off with a survey. If you can just go through and fill that out, that would be great. I'm going to go through a quick overview using a PowerPoint, and then we'll jump in right into the website and go through in detail what the user journey looks like for both a buyer and a seller. And then towards the end, we'll have an opportunity to do some follow-up Q&A, and then and then we'll tie it out. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to go ahead and use the Q&A button on the WebEx screen, and we'll either answer during the presentation or during the overview, or we'll answer them at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, my name is Bob Neubaum. I'm the offering manager for the marketplace. I'm based out of the Atlanta, Georgia offices. I've been with Tridium since 2019. Before working at Tridium, I spent several years at another large software company with responsibility of ecosystem programs that entailed a marketplace, but also entailed a complementary partner program. So it was also an IoT platform, and there were companies that built with IoT. There's a lot of complementary components. So I tried to formalize some of those relationships, and really that's what the purpose of the marketplace is to pull those complementary and enhancements built by our ecosystem into a single location. So I'm excited to go through that today, what we've done here at Tridium. So I'm just going to step back and talk about the two main personas that we've looked at for this first iteration of the marketplace. So the marketplace initially is targeted towards our integrators and developers. So what we've seen out in the field was integrators that are trying to complete jobs and need enhancements, drivers, accelerators, things to bring up the level of their job. They're seeking those types of add-ons for Niagara. And we have a very robust, actually, developer community that's creating those add-ons. Sometimes there's overlap here in developers and integrators. There might be developers at an integrator, but either way, the people that are developing the solutions have had very regionalized success. They've not, developers have struggled getting their content to market and getting them those accelerators and enhancements to our integrator community. And again, we talked about what integrators are looking for: speed to market, and up-leveling their work, building new integrations and building new applications with Niagara, using things that are available in the marketplace. So what we've done is we've created the all new marketplace, and the purpose is really to just solve that problem that I just laid out. So for our sellers, we've created an environment where they can come right to the marketplace, create their own personalized storefronts, and offer their solutions to the Niagara community. And the transactions are all credit card initially, but we'll be expanding that in the future, and we'll go into some of our future roadmap later. But it's really the marketplace should now be considered as a place for our integrators and developers to come together. Our developers will be able to offer their solutions to the marketplace on their own personalized storefronts. If you think of it as a shopping mall, that's a very good analogy. So a shopping mall, there's stores and consumers come to the mall as a single place to get all of their needs solved. So they're able to go to all those different stores. And it's the same thing with the marketplace. Buyers on the marketplace are buying directly from those developers or sellers within the marketplace. They have, each seller has their own personalized storefront, their own policies, store policies, and things like that. But we launched on April 4th and excited for the upcoming months, what's going on. But our developers, the marketplace gives our developers the opportunity to sell, to step out of those regional barriers they had, and sell wherever the marketplace is launched. Initially, we've launched in the US and Europe, but we are working on our expanding throughout the rest of the year. Developers also, or sellers, have, when they've gone to market, there's some complexities that they've reached. First of all, building out an e-commerce site is complicated, and what the marketplace has enabled our sellers to do is create that single storefront with e-commerce, tax, and multiple currencies all in a single location, just making it easier for them to sell. So the vision is for developers to simply be able to create, post their content, and have it shared with the Niagara community, allow the Niagara community to find what they need quicker. If they have to ask questions or interact directly with the sellers, those tools are built into the platform, which we'll go over. Ultimately, we want them to buy, our integrators to know that they're buying this content with confidence, going through vetted solutions with ratings from peers, and purchasing on a secured platform. One other quick note that's important is, if a developer chooses to use the Niagara licensing platform, licensing is integrated into the Niagara Marketplace now. So during the purchase process, once you pick out a driver you'd like, if it's licensed with Niagara licensing, the driver will actually be, you can add the host ID at purchase and check compatibility to make sure that what you're trying to purchase is compatible with that version of Niagara you're trying to install it to, and of course through the host ID. And once the checkout is complete, the marketplace actually binds that entitlement to that host ID that you've specified. You also have the ability to not bind it to a host ID, to be able to buy content, what we call for stock, and bind it at a later date. And that binding then would happen through the marketplace. So you have a licensing center within the marketplace that you can go and a user can go and add their host ID. We also support other licensing models. So besides Niagara licensing, if somebody had an other or a different licensing platform, we can support that too through, it's more of an offline messaging. So once a purchase is completed with a non-Niagara licensed product, the host ID would be added, and that would be sent to the seller, who could respond with the license key or license file, whatever it takes. And then that would all be, again, driven through the licensing center. And then, of course, we can also support what I would call unlicensed content, or content that doesn't use a licensing server. So if there's something that someone wants to share, at a very low cost, that can be available as well. A couple quick things here is the marketplace is designed to be, I would say, a program that is enhancing throughout the year. So we've launched with the current perpetually licensed software products that are available for download. That is our launch product, but we will be expanding throughout the year. And I will share a tentative roadmap in a few minutes here, and we can go through what our plans are for the rest of the year. All content goes through a two-part review process, or will be going through a two-part review process. We'll not only be reviewing from a marketing aspect, making sure that the content is aesthetically pleasing and accurate, grammar's correct, all of that. We'll also be doing a technical review for each piece of content, ensuring that best practices were used during the development process, and that tools like static code analysis and dependency checks and malware scans are also a component of that. That is something we are launching next quarter, that comprehensive process. So we're in the process right now of actually filling that position, and the person should be coming on in early July, and we should be launching that with all existing content and new content before the end of July. And again, really the marketplace our users and our sellers need to think of it as a platform for them to be autonomous. Each seller has their own terms and conditions, and buyers are buying directly from those sellers. The marketplace is a platform to connect the two. For our sellers, the way it's set up is there's an application fee. When you sell a piece of content, there's a revenue share portion, but there's no cost until content is purchased. All payment processing is done via Stripe, which is probably one of the largest payment platforms in the industry, and the payment is directly between the buyer and the seller. So the sellers are setting themselves up on Stripe through the marketplace platform, and sellers are transacting directly with them, with the sellers. So buyers are transacting directly with sellers. Sorry about that. The marketplace is also providing tax guidance. So that's one of the areas that we saw a lot of complications from our sellers out in the field, is they're having issues understanding tax laws in all of these different countries that they could sell in. So we've partnered with Sovos, who's we're using for our tax engine, and essentially what we're able to do is look at each individual sale, where it's being bought and used, and who is selling it, where they're located, and we're able to derive tax guidance there. In some situations, Tridium will collect and remit taxes, and in other situations, our sellers, the marketplace transaction will collect taxes and then pass that on to the seller to remit with instructions. And in some cases, tax may not even be applicable, but we're relying on this enterprise class tax software to do that, to provide that tax guidance. Just a quick, so first of all, I will say I should have an asterisk on this, a big asterisk. This is aspirational, but this is this is aspirational as far as what we're going to get to. Some of this stuff is a little bit up in the air right now, but just a quick highlight. Again, we're working we launched with downloadable software only. We're working now to add hardware capability sales to the marketplace, and it will be non-Niagara based hardware. So the only products that you'll be able to purchase are things that Tridium does not sell. This is third-party content, typically only. So we're working on that product, the hardware expansion now, and we'll be expanding to the rest. We'll be continuing our global expansion throughout the rest of the year, frankly. Next quarter, we'll be launching Niagara licensing-based try and buy capabilities. So that will allow a user to come in, find a content that's that they're looking for, that they need or can enhance their capabilities. They'll be able to choose a trial version of that software. They will set it up for purchase at the end of the 7-day trial. And what will happen is immediately upon purchase, they'll receive an email welcoming them along with the licensing information. It must be bound to a specific host ID at the time of setup. So that in many cases, that may be a temporary host ID that they're setting it up for, but maybe a test account or development instance of Niagara you're loading it on. But that would be set up at the beginning of the trial, and then that trial lasts for 7 days. By the end of the 7 days, you either need to come back to the marketplace and back out of that sale, or complete the sale, or the sale will complete. And upon completion of the sale, it gives the buyer the opportunity to bind it to a new host ID. Also, we're adding payment flexibility next quarter, SEPA and direct debit, mostly for our friends in Europe. And towards the end of the year, we're working on either possibly doing a subscription engine, which will support subscription-based content that our partners sell for Niagara. The other piece here that we're looking at is something called an Innovation Center. And what the Innovation Center will allow our users to, or essentially our users, if they're not able to find the content they're looking for, they'll be able to go to the Innovation Center and spell out a capability that they need or they would like. And the Innovation Center will sort of the top items, the rest of the community will be able to vote on those items, and the top items can be picked up, or whatever item can be picked up by our ecosystem. So if there's a capability an integrator is looking for, they post it there in the Innovation Center. The sellers can see those, and the developer community can see those capabilities that people are looking for, and they can, if they can essentially productize that and offer it on the marketplace, they're able to sort of claim that and post it. So we're working on that sort of towards the fourth quarter. There's a lot to be flushed out with that one. So I would encourage everyone on the call to go in, log in. The URL is niagaramarketplace.com. If you go to the old marketplace, there's a link on the main page that will bring you to the new marketplace. The old marketplace will be end of life probably this month. It will be decommissioned. One thing to point out is the old marketplace was really focused at showcasing capabilities. And a couple things there. What we saw traffic-wise was very low adoption, and then the other piece of that was leads. We didn't see a lot of leads being generated through the old marketplace, so that led us to this newer version. The new marketplace does not have a listing-only capability. This is a pure e-commerce site at this point, and yeah, so we encourage everyone to jump in and take a look. One other quick note here is we are looking for feedback. If there's features on the marketplace that you need or you feel like are important and missing, please feel free to contact the marketplace team. It's just Niagara Marketplace at Tridium.com. There's a few people on that team right now. There's myself, a gentleman named Grant Humphreys, who's also on the call with me. And then we have another person that's inbound early July that will be doing content review. But please send us feedback. We need the community to give our feedback so we know where we're driving the future of the marketplace. Let me just actually, before we jump into this survey, let me just jump right over to the marketplace itself so we can, give me a second here. I'll give you an actual tour of the marketplace and show you how it works. And we can go from there. Give me a second. So this is the new marketplace site. It's again, niagaramarketplace.com. And on the landing page, you'll see, first of all, I am signed in a demo account. And you'll see that there are featured and trending products here. And to find something that you're looking for, you can jump right to the search box. You can search through categories, or you can search based on featured or trending. So I'll just click on this see all here on the featured product list. And this will show me all of our products with those that are featured first. So you see all the different products that are listed. Right now we have about 49 pieces of content with varying degrees of licensing. So I'll just jump into Reflow here. This is created by Niagara Mods, and you can get all of your details about the product right here in the bottom section. And system requirements are also here, and as well as licensing details and versioning. Reviews, right now nothing's been sold yet, so there's no reviews. And you can get some details on the pricing options available for reflow. So they added their own table, but there's also an auto-generated table which shows the different pricing options that are listed out on the marketplace. So from the top here, you can choose what you're interested in. The price that's shown is the lowest price that's available. So if you're purchasing reflow for a Jace, it's $399. Jace Pro, it is add $600 to make it $1,000. So I'll just go back here to the Jace version and I will choose a host ID. So as you can see, I would need to enter a host ID. It would do that compatibility check before I add it to the cart. I don't have a host ID, so I'm not going to demonstrate that. But if we go over to purchase for stock, I can add it to my cart here. And you'll see that capability. One other thing here is under the support window, we have all of the details around support, their EULA licensing, how it's licensed, and also on this field, the screen should be details about how the content's supported and how long it will be supported for. Just like any e-commerce site you'd expect, you can jump right over to order checkout, and it's a full shopping cart. So it looks at your shipping address. Let's see, ship here. To see, it's calculating tax, and the EULA for each piece of content being purchased needs to be accepted. So this is, in this instance, it's Niagara Mod's EULA for reflow that needs to be accepted. A work order can be entered, or a PO number, just for records information, but the credit card information is completed, and you would agree to the seller's terms and conditions and complete the order. Now, in this instance, again, I showed that it's set up to just add to stock. So I'll go over to our my account section so I can show you what that looks like. So this bottom section is all about the buyer persona. So people that are buying things. So I may have content that's favorited. So I'll just jump back real quick to Niagara Mods, or I can do charge point here. And I will favorite this. Okay. So you can see, I can see all my previous orders that I've purchased through the company, as well as I said, my favorites has been added. My previous orders, again, I can search and filter based on invoice number, product name, whatever it might be. Go into my profile. The last couple things here, any credit cards that I've saved or payment details that are saved, any communication history with sellers. So as you were able to see there in the marketplace, I can actually go to like the SQL driver from Safe Control, and I can contact the seller and send a question directly to the seller through this platform. So that all of that communication history is here. Again, I haven't done any of those myself, so they're none listed, but also just a quick look at the software licensing center. So again, I haven't really purchased anything, but this shows the type of license that each piece of content has, as well as the host ID that it's assigned to. All of the content, this has all been test product, but if the content is licensable and not assigned a host ID, that can actually be added here in this field, and it can be bound then through Niagara licensing. We can go in and do downloads directly here, and we're saving checksum information to make sure you're downloading the correct file, that nothing's gotten corrupted, and all of that's from a security aspect. So from a seller perspective, sellers are able to create their storefronts. As I said, they can go in and manage their storefront with their store policies, their banners, their logos, where they're located, tax information, all of that, and manage their listings here. They can also deal with direct storefront reviews and product reviews here, as well as the seller's communication history. But when we did this, the good thing for us is we're not the first marketplace that's been launched. We're just the first marketplace for Niagara. So we have a lot of other software marketplaces to look at from a best practices perspective. And we're able to see what the industry is doing in this space. And that's really what we've done. So we've tried to just create, the linkage for those people developing content with those that are offering or needing the content. Again, it's been a big gap in the past. So I would, again, encourage everyone to just go to NiagaraMarketplace.com, log in, click around, get familiar, and see if there's if you have any suggestions or feedback, please send them to the marketplace team at Niagara Marketplace at Tridium.com. And and we'll go from there.
Hey,
Danielle,
Bob, let me read off some questions that have come in.
Actually, before we do that, Grant, can we just, Danielle, maybe you can start the next survey, the ending survey, and we'll go through the questions while that survey is being completed.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right.
And go ahead, Grant.
All right. So the first question is, probably missed it, but is there a cost for buyers to utilize the new marketplace? Yes.
So there is a cost
for the buyers.
Oh, for the buyers. Oh, I appreciate. Thank you, Grant, for that. No, there's not a cost for the buyers. The cost is, whatever the content's being sold at. The platform is the sellers would have an application fee, but not the buyers.
Okay, and the next question is, what is the application fee, and what is the sales fee?
Sure. So the sales fee and the application fee are the same fee, and
Bob, I think we lost you.
I will say it's dependent. It's anywhere from 12 to 28%, depending on.
Bob, we lost you halfway through that question or that answer. Well, let me I'll take a stab at answering this question. My name is Grant Humphreys. I'm the Technical Operations Manager for the Niagara Marketplace. So currently we are charging an application fee if you are a registered developer with Tridium. We do give them a discount. So it's, but it is 28% for software.
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened. Danielle, if you could turn on screen sharing again. Yeah, so the application fee, I know Grant, you started to answer that, but I'll just take it if that's okay. The application fee really depends on our support agreement. So if there's a partner with support agreement, the application fee is less than those without. Also, it depends on what's being sold. There's different rates for buyers and sellers. And what I would encourage you to do is go to the marketplace. Let me just show you where you can do this. Give me a second to share my screen. That was a panicked race back to the marketplace. Grant, I'm just assuming you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So right here, if you're interested in becoming a seller, you can just click this link and choose open marketplace store. You'll need to sign in order to do that, or sign up. But in there's a form you fill out indicating your interest, and it will present you with our beta terms and conditions. So in there, it has commission, the sort of the application fee rates, where we are now with those. Grant, I lost all the questions, so you have to read them to me.
Okay. The next question is, we look for products of different manufacturers. We want to sell our work on the resource. Where can I find instructions on how to do this? And you just showed them by click on becoming a seller.
Okay. Yeah.
Where can I find instructions on how to do this? And what are the conditions and affiliate program? Tell me more about it.
Okay. So just at a high level, with the marketplace, we've really tried to pull all content together that has been created for Niagara without any barriers. We really are interested in growing the ecosystem and growing the capabilities of Niagara through that ecosystem. We do have some upcoming changes for the developer program, which will bring people into more of what I would call an official status. But the sellers that are on the marketplace today, there are sellers that have an official support agreement with Tridium, and there are sellers that do not have an official support agreement with Tridium. All content will be reviewed the same. And yeah, so that's sort of at a high level what we're trying to accomplish. But the program, so if you're a supported developer from Tridium, you have access to Niagara licensing. So those that are not supported developers will not have access to Niagara licensing. That's one of the big pieces there. If you're a supported developer, you also have a lower application fee for software. I think for a supported developer, it's a 23% application fee, and for an unsupported developer, it's 28%. Again, that's for software. Hardware, the pricing will be different. It's all in the T's and C's, the beta agreement that you'll see by clicking this, by filling out this open marketplace store. Let me just log in here. I think
okay, the next question is there a way to download a driver as a demo for testing before purchase?
Yeah, great question. So not yet. So there's a couple ways that can be accomplished, I think. So that is on our roadmap for next quarter. We will be launching that probably in July, early August timeframe. That will be launched. And if you're on our communication, our email list, you will get that. You will get notification of new features that are added to the marketplace, but we're calling that to try and buy. So that, again, July, August timeframe, we'll be launching that. You'll be able to, if the seller offers a trial version, you can go ahead and select that, and it will let you download the software, license it to a specific host ID during that trial period. At the end of the trial period, you can either cancel the order before the trial period completes, or at the end of the trial period, your credit card that's on file will be charged, and you'll receive a new license for the full product. The other way you can go about that is actually through the messaging interface on the marketplace. So we've seen that now happening now. So oftentimes, I'll go over here to this InfluxDB thing. If I wanted to request a temporary license for this, I could just go here and contact the seller and ask for that. And I know, like for the baud rate in this example, they're more than happy to provide a test license with a little bit of information on you. But yeah, I think that answers the question.
All right, the next question, is there a filter for widget products? So right now, go ahead.
I'm not sure. Widget
I don't think we
products.
have it. Widgets, like, I don't think we have a filter set up for widgets, but
we can certainly add one. So if we have content that's out there so the categories and the filters are set up based on what we currently have. But if there's content that's being built out, there are a lot of widgets here through baud rates actually has a lot listed. But I do not have one for a kind of thing, something set up for that. We should set one up for that, actually.
All right, I put that on my to-do list. Let's get a category for widgets. The next one is if the purchased software product is tied only to one server, or can we use it on all of our objects? What are the expiration dates, number of computers?
I'll say it depends on the piece of content, and that should be spelled out in the product description. But typically, the modules that are licensed through Niagara licensing, at least, are tied to a specific host ID. So I would say that again, and content is licensed through Niagara licensing, tied to a specific host ID. So I've seen some questions on the platform about buying, the content that can be used across multiple host IDs. That again could be a conversation directly with the sellers to see if they can accommodate that.
Yep. And the next final question that I think we've got time for, I know we're already over time right here, is can we get some documents for the accounting department about the funds spent? Yeah. What's the legal address and where are the territorial routes?
So real quick, in the footer here, there's a section for documentation. I don't know that we have that specific documentation yet, but we do have information on buying on the marketplace and selling on the marketplace. So through this documentation, you might be able to find what you're looking for. If you're not able to find it, I would send an email to the Niagara Marketplace at Tridium.com, and we can get that for you. And we'll actually update the documentation to include that. As far as the legal address, so from a tax standpoint, Tridium is operating the marketplace in what's called a marketplace facilitator model. So we are not the seller of record. The sellers who are offering content are the sellers of record, and each transaction is between the buyer and that seller, and wherever their address is, and they set that up through the seller portal. They set up their local information, and I will say that again, it's a complex model as a marketplace facilitator, but we are doing tax determination on transaction by transaction basis. There are some countries that require Tridium as the marketplace facilitator to collect and remit sales tax. But it's complicated. Sometimes it's a ship to, sometimes it's a bill to address that drives that. But the tax software we're using does that determination on a transaction by transaction basis.
Okay. All right, Bob, do you want to wrap up really quick because we are over time? I know that there's more questions that were asked. I'll try to get to these offline.
Yep.
But really appreciate your attendance.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone's time and keep the feedback coming. Again, Niagara Marketplace at Tridium.com, and we will answer any questions that we get there as well. And if we haven't gotten to your questions, we will take these offline and answer them. Great. Danielle, do I need to do anything?